I'm Rosa Mendez, and I'm here at the #1 Long Island broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. I had the best time ever!
Hey, listen, Daddy, you're listening to the #1 broadcast, Monty and Pharaoh, Daddy, in Long Island. The best pro wrestling broadcast of all time, I think.
Jimmy, I got to tell you, man, it feels good to be back on YouTube. It was quite disappointing what happened to us, but we bounced back fairly quickly.
Well, what else would we do? We're almost at 5,000 subscribers.
Well, speaking of that, man, we need more members.
Okay.
What do you think we need to do to get the people of those 5,000 subscribers to come on and join the team as a Monty and the Pharaoh member?
Nudity is out of the question. Any other ideas?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But what I do have a few ideas.
Well, just like Prel, they should tell 2 friends, and they could tell 2 friends, and so on and so on. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Check out all our content.
But that's, you know what? That's why you're the star of the show, because guess what? Members get special content. Even we spoke about it. Pharaoh came to me one day and he goes, man, what's the deal? I can't even watch some of these videos because I'm not a member. And I said, there you go, Pharaoh. You got to be a member because this is what the members get. They get free content that none of the other fans that watch this show get.
That's right.
You get free autographs from some of these wonderful stars that come in, right?
Nice.
All you do is you go to the MNP webpage, or our own page, and shoot us an email and say, hey, man, I want a picture of Tommy Rich. I want a picture of whatever. And boy, that's on its way.
We give them their choice.
That's right.
We rock.
We do rock.
And you need to rock too. Join.
And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP.
Hey everybody, this is ESO and welcome to another edition of the After Show, found here only on the Monty and the Pharaoh channels. And while we're on that subject, I have to send a special thanks out to Mike Monty and Jimmy Pharaoh. Thank you guys for letting me host a show on your channel. And Monty and the Pharaoh can be found every Thursday live at 9 p.m. on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. They also are streaming on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, and everywhere that all your favorite streaming services out there. You can also find them featured on the Intuitive app. Wow. Got to go download that. Every Thursday, they're featured live. So cool thing is, everywhere you can find Monty and the Pharaoh, you can probably find me and the After Show. So thanks, you guys, for coming by. So today we're going to actually do one of the things we set the show up to do in the first place. We're going to talk about the Monty and the Pharaoh show. Did everybody get a chance to catch Maggie Cole on the show last week? That was a great interview, and it was really cool to get a different perspective of the whole Ring Boy scandal and how it affected Tom Cole and that whole family's lives, and the manipulation by the WWF and the officials is it's unbelievable. Great interview, Maggie. You were awesome. I've had the opportunity to speak to Lee Cole quite a few times. Lee's a really stand-up dude. It's a sad story what they did to Tom Cole and that whole Ring Boy scandal with Pat Patterson and Garvin, and just a really, really sad thing. And the reason it's being brought back up into the news right now is there's a new book that came out. It's called Ringmaster, Vince McMahon and the Unmaking of America. The Coles are featured in, I believe it's either chapter 11 or chapter 13 is about the Ring Boy scandal, and it's really about their family and what happened to Tom. If anybody doesn't know, Tom Cole was involved in the Ring Boy scandal back in the early 90s. Check it out. It was really a black eye on the WWF. People were fired. Pat Patterson was fired. It's sad, and unfortunately, Tom was trying to chase his dreams, and some people took advantage of him. It's really, really sad. I have the book on order. I don't have it yet. Hopefully in the next week or so, I get, well, actually in the next day or so, I'm going to get it. And maybe by next week, I'll have read it and I'll have my own review. But right now, it's only getting a 3.4 out of 5 stars on Amazon. And a lot of it's saying it's a very politically biased book. I hope not. I would like to learn a different perspective of Vince McMahon and what was going on over there. So next thing I want to talk about is Ron Shaw. Ron Shaw's out there running his mouth saying that Monty owes him an apology. And he's even telling Pharaoh that he's advising him to talk to his buddy and give it to him. I don't think it's gonna happen. Sorry, Ron. Mike's not giving you any type of apology. This should be fun. I can't wait to see him come in studio. There's some great upcoming guests in studio that they have. Can't wait to see Manny Fernandez. Tommy Rich is coming back. It should be Marty Jannetty. Did you see they did release the upcoming season of Dark Side of the Ring, and Marty Jannetty is going to be featured as one of the participants. What was the other ones I saw? Magnum TA is going to be on there. Chris Candido and Sonny, and I forgot the other one that was announced. But I do know that there's one that wasn't announced that is in the works also, and that one's on the adorable Adrian Adonis. Can't wait for that one. I only got to see Adrian Adonis in the Flower Shop era, probably not his prime time. I heard he was awesome back in the late 70s, early 80s, teaming with Jesse Ventura. They were supposedly a really, really amazing tag team. Unfortunately, it was a little before my time. I didn't really get a chance to see them. And actually, I haven't even seen them much on video either that I can think of. I'm going to have to check that out. So next thing I'm going to do is when we get back from break, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened this week, the draft, some of the highs and lows of the WWF this week. And then we're going to get into a WWF magazine from 1987 featuring Bobby the Brain Heenan and if he's the greatest manager of that time. Can't wait for that. That's going to be fun to go through. So why don't we take a quick break and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, it's John from Under the Table Hot Sauce. I'm here with my friend, the star of the show, Jimmy Farrow.
Yeah, what's up, JB?
Nah, nothing.
It's been a hot summer, and for all your barbecue needs, you can go to underthetablehotsauce.com. 13 unique flavors to choose from, created and bottled in a Long Island kitchen. Underthetablehotsauce.com. Let's go chow, JB.
Let's do it.
All the flavor, twice the burn.
Hey everyone, Chris Centennial, Sports Talk 101. Today I'm at the Country Club of Big Ron Shaw, and the question we're asking today is, should Monty apologize to Ron? So what's your thought? Should Monty from the Monty and Pharaoh Show apologize to Big Ron Shaw?
Absolutely. I don't believe that Monty should have said what he said, and I definitely believe he should apologize to Ron Shaw for what he had said.
Sir, what do you think? Should Monty apologize to Ron Shaw?
Monty apologized to Shaw? Hell yeah! And he's the champion. Hall of Famer, of course.
Sir, do you have an opinion? Should he apologize?
Most definitely. When you have a Hall of Famer and you want to insult him, that's a bunch of bull crap. He should be apologizing to him.
Thank you. Sir, do you have an opinion on Ron Shaw? Should Monty apologize to him?
Yeah, I don't even like Ron Shaw.
Hey, who the hell are you?
You talking to me like
your own business, man. You're all drunk, you?
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. Monty, the people have spoken. Step up to the plate and deliver me the apology that I so rightfully deserve. I told you, you're a punk. And I'm going to tell you, our paths are going to cross again.
And welcome back to the after show, found here only on the Monty and the Pharaoh channels. What did everybody think of the WWF product this week? I'm going to call it a mixed bag. I'm going to say the women's stuff was better written than the men's stuff. And unfortunately, I'm not sure where we're going with a lot of things. Some things make no sense whatsoever. let's just start right off at the top. One of the highlights, Liv and Raquel getting the titles from the Lita and Becky. Good. That needed to happen. Becky and Lita didn't deserve the titles. They weren't a good tag team together. Lita should not be wrestling, period, right now. I think we saw that at WrestleMania when Io Sky carried her through that match. Io, Dakota, and Bailey carried Lita through that match to make it look somewhat decent, and it really was. It was a botch fest. Outside of the moves Trish pulled off in that match in WrestleMania, it was horrible. So, but Liv and Raquel getting the titles, way to go. Liv and Raquel are awesome. Liv is one of my favorite wrestlers out there. The only thing I worry about with her is that she's putting her body on the line a little bit too much right now. I don't want to see her career cut short because of some stupid accident out there. Don't put your body on the line every time, girl. Only do it when it counts. You know, maybe do it for the bigger shows. Don't do it on the house shows and every day on SmackDown and Raw. So then we're gonna get in. Next, we had Triple H come out and he announces that we're gonna have a draft again. Oh freaking boy! So I just have to call something out. Since the Royal Rumble, there has been no such thing as a brand. You have the Usos, you have Sami Zayn and Owens, you have the Rey Mysterio, you have Judgment Day, Sikoa, Paul Heyman. They are on every night. There is no brand. Those guys are constantly on. I get it with the tag champs and Reigns, being that they hold both titles, but no, Owens, before Owens and Zayn held the title, they shouldn't be on both brands. Why is Sikoa on both brands? He doesn't belong there. Come on. So now we're going to have a draft? What for? You feature the same people every week on both shows. If you didn't, you wouldn't have SmackDown anymore. SmackDown is the Usos and the Mysterios and Judgment Day. That's it. And then you announced this week that Riddle's going to perform on both brands. Yip de freaking do. So we get the womanizer on both brands. That guy shouldn't be being promoted. If that guy were in any real professional sport, he would be exonerated. He would be he'd be hung right now. They'd be calling him out for how he's treated these women over these last few years. Wow. Sorry, I don't want to see Riddle back. He's a drug addict, and is he a great athlete? Yes, he's a great athlete. Go back to MMA. I don't want to see you as a wrestler because it really disappoints me that you're a role model for kids. Sorry, I know that a lot of people like Matt Riddle, but look into his history and look at what he's done. Look at the way he treated Daniela Petro and some of the other women he's been with. It's disgusting. So. Next thing I have to call out, Finn Balor took a nasty bash to the head last week. They required staples. And yeah, he completed that match with Edge, which was, those guys beat the hell out of each other. And why would he wrestle so soon, come back and wrestle so soon? Come on, give the guy a couple weeks off. Let him recover. I just didn't think that was fair to him. I mean, if he wanted to, yeah, that's all good. But for his health and for the long run, maybe that wasn't the best thing to do. Let's see, what else did we have? We had, I gotta say, so going back to the women's match, the best part of the women's match was Trish Stratus turning on Becky Lynch. Yes, I loved that part of it. Trish, kick her ass. I want to see a heel Trish. Yes. Woo, love that part of it. Then we had the, Bronson Reed against Bobby Lashley. Why? Why is Bronson Reed getting shoved down our throats? He sucks. He can't move. Bobby Lashley is freaking amazing. Why would you have him wrestle a blob of nothing? Sorry, I don't like Mustafa or whatever his name is. He shouldn't be in there with Bobby Lashley. That's the guy who should be on the main event, trying to get to the main card. Maybe even put him back down in NXT. He does not belong where he is. He does not belong in a place with a main eventer like Bobby Lashley, period. And while we're on that subject, I know that Bobby's disappointed he didn't have a match at WrestleMania, but you know what? I'm glad you didn't have to wrestle that idiot Bray Wyatt. I don't want to see him come back. I'm glad he's pretty much been written off of TV. I don't want to see the stupid vignettes come back in these teases that lead to nothing. I don't want to see him wrestle again. I'm glad he's not around. Bobby, you dodged a bullet there. Next thing we had Cody Rhodes come out and cut this. It was a good promo, but it made himself look so weak. I'm scared of Brock Lesnar. I am scared. Yeah, you should be. Brock's going to come out and kick your ass, just like Roman Reigns did. Let's face it, you're going to be knocked down out of the main event picture. Not really. We all know he's going to get pushed to the moon, but it should be I don't know who's going to go over in this. Brock does not like doing jobs, and Cody is nowhere near as big as Brock. Wait till you see those two really next to each other. Brock dwarfs him. When they're in the ring, not even close. Brock should kick the shit out of Cody. So my girl Io Sky did it. I called it last week, and I told you that Io Sky was an awesome wrestler. She really proved herself in WrestleMania with the way she carried Lita. That was my first inkling that girl is what she was. And at that point, I went and I did some research, and I found out how accomplished she is worldwide. And you know what? That girl deserves to be in the main event picture. I'm not going to say her promo was great or anything, but that girl can wrestle. So way to go, Io Sky. Congratulations. However, the three women that were chosen for that match to determine the number one contender, what did they pick it out of a hat? Because none of those women are main eventers yet. Io's going to be there, but she doesn't belong to be there. Piper Niven, whatever. She doesn't even deserve to be on the roster. Send her back to NXT. Ship her back over to NXT Europe. That doesn't exist anymore. And then Michin, again, I think Michin could be a main event person, but she was just squashed a few weeks ago by Piper, so what's the point? She's not in the main event picture just because of the way she's been booked. So, I don't get it. It should have been like Bayley and Becky and, maybe Io. So you have that one person who you're trying to bring up. There's no way you can elevate three women in one night. And honestly, you didn't elevate any of them except for Io. And you could have done that in different ways. So proud of Io. Awesome. Way to go. But all right, this is another gripe I have. Every episode of Raw and SmackDown ends with the Usos, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens brawling in the ring in some form, the bloodline in them, or they're cutting a promo. Every episode of SmackDown and Raw. This one it's pointless. It's getting to be so predictable. And gee, that was a big surprise for Matt Riddle coming out to save the day. No way. So again, why? If you're gonna stop shoving Matt Riddle down our faces, I don't want to see him. I know he came back, but his new gear looks stupid. I do like him and Randy Orton together. However, my personal bias towards him has just grown. I just don't think he's a role model for kids, and he shouldn't be pushed as one. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on this week of the wrestling. Tired of the bloodline and Owens and Zayn fighting every week. I want to see some new things developed. I'm happy with the way that they're starting to push the women's division. That's really, really cool. That should be fun in the next couple of weeks. But that's about all I have on that. So let's take another quick break, and we'll be right back. And this should be the most fun part of the night. We're going to talk about WWF Magazine from 1987 featuring Bobby the Brain Heenan. We'll be right back.
Monty, in 6 short days, I'll be on the Dan and Benny in the Ring show to announce some huge news. That's going to shock a lot of people, maybe including you. So what you need to do is get to your doctor and get the wax cleaned out of your ears. And then get the wax cleaned out between your ears, because you're going to want to hear and understand exactly what I got to say. And Pharaoh, I suggest you talk some sense into your pal to make sure I get the apology that I deserve.
Sir?
Ah.
Manscaped?
Uh-huh.
Have you tried the new equipment that's been sent?
I'm afraid because it says weed whacker. I'm scared.
Maven, Manscaped. What are you thinking about
Love it.
Manscaped, dude?
Love it.
What do you use it for?
Necessity. What don't I use it for? Put it this way. The only hair I have on my entire body is these eyebrows.
Yeah.
That you see. These caterpillars racing to the middle of my nose. That's it.
That is it.
That's all I have. And that's all I want.
That's the
So Manscaped is a
You-
must.
We were talking before the show. There's nothing worse than just hair.
Yeah.
Right? Hair on a woman, hair on a man. It's just bad.
Absolutely. And it's the one thing that the older I get, it starts growing more in unwanted areas.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Just going to go out there.
Oh, boy.
Go for it.
You're doing a deed.
Yes.
Again, I don't want you to have to admit this because we, as men, we try not to admit this. But if you're going to
Oh,
go
I
do
know
the deed
where-
on a woman,
I know where
would you
he's
rather
going.
have her be hairless or a little hair, racing stripe, or
Racing stripe.
full retro bush?
Racing stripe.
Retro Bush is out.
Yes, thank you.
Retro Bush is out.
Yeah.
I don't mind a small, well manicured landing strip. Every now and then, if it's completely, and I'm talking like baby's ass bald, then I start. Where is that pedophilia line? I don't want to wander into that.
That's
thought
very
of it like
interesting.
that.
I never thought about that. You're a smart dude. Holy shit.
So if the landing strip is clean enough for the plane to go in smoothly, you're cool with that?
If the landing strip has, like I said, well manicured,
Yeah,
you can see both sides. It's not
Like blinking lights on both sides of that
I
landing?
just don't. I don't want. I don't want the shrubbery going off into unwanted areas on that as well.
Gotcha. Oh,
Yeah,
look
but-
what you found. Ooh.
I got to be all honest though. Hey, the older I get though, I don't think I can be as
I found it! I found
Have
it!
you ever gone down there and she slowly brings down the underwear? Then
What is
retro? Just,
Absolutely.
You're like, whoa!
Wow,
Yeah, I'm
like
46,
it
of
pops
course.
out?
Do you like walk out or what do you do?
No, I muster through. I muster up the courage to get
He's
through.
a trooper. He's a trooper. Got to give him an A.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah,
There you go.
I hear you.
There you
Listen,
go.
I couldn't
Super
say.
Bush.
I couldn't say it. Well, if you have the same beliefs as Maven does, Manscaped could help you.
Absolutely.
The weed whacker.
Absolutely.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I may have to, go in a room, close the door, and hang out with the weed whacker for a little while.
Yeah, I think you're a retro guy, aren't you?
I like 70s adult films, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
But
holy
with that,
Ron
we're going to take a
Jeremy,
quick
Batman.
commercial break and we'll be
Anyway.
back with this wrestling icon, Maven.
We will see you in a drop kick second.
Drop kick.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the After Show, found here only on the Monty and the Pharaoh channels. So this is one of my favorite parts of the show when I get to talk about some wrestling from the past. This week, I'm talking about a WWF magazine from 1987. It's October 1987's edition, and it features Bobby the Brain Heenan. It covers Bobby Heenan, WWF's greatest manager. Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man flashes the cash. George the Animal Steele, a rare interview. Outlaw Ron Bass, a bull-whipping mean, and Tag Team Turmoil, today's hottest tag teams. I love these magazines. They were so cool. They were really geared towards kids my age. I was, I believe, 10 or 11 when this came out. And you really, once you get into the magazine, you can really feel the youth vibe at this point. One of the cool things right away is Coliseum video ad. This one was for Jake Roberts, Jake the Snake Roberts video for him, or a VHS cassette for him. The WWF's Even More Unusual Matches, and the Best of the WWF Volume 12. I used to love those Coliseum videos, and recently I was down at the Wrestling Collector in Stockholm, New Jersey, and I was just looking through them. If I had a VHS, I probably would have bought all those tapes. That would have been so cool. It'd be so much fun to watch them again, especially in that format. So let's see. Of course, one of the first things I like is the advertisement for the ice cream bars. The WWF ice cream bars of the 80s were the shit. Please bring them back, WWF. We need to get a campaign going again for that. Bring back the ice cream bars. So this is where this is the days of kayfabe. So this month they had a WWF list of. Every month they do a thing where they ask wrestlers what their favorite things are, or what their favorite things were, in this case, places are. So this month it was, their favorite cities. You had Brutus Beefcake saying Paris, Ted DiBiase saying Fort Lauderdale, Harley Race says Monte Carlo. Outback Jack says Humpty Doo. One Man Gang, Chicago, Junkyard D, Bourbon Street, Hulk Hogan, Venice Beach, California, where he's not from. So, next thing we had the sensational Sherry winning the World Wrestling Federation Women's Heavyweight Championship from who else but the fabulous Moolah. At this point, Sherry Martel now had the AWA and the WWF women's titles. Wow, that's awesome. Oh, now they always do a thing where they bring in the WWF superstar and talk about their personality. This month they brought in Matilda, the British Bulldog's bulldog. Oh, poor Matilda. We've heard the stories of how badly she was abused with them injecting her with stuff and really treating this dog wrong. But when I was a kid, I popped every time I saw Matilda come out. I even had a shirt with Matilda the dog on it and a British Bulldog flag. Wow. Yeah, I remember those days, but I wonder what happened to that dog after that. Next thing we had was, again, this is how it was geared towards kids. You had an interview with George the Animal Steele. And if anybody remembers George Steele at this time, he was a man of very few words. He would say like, Elizabeth, because he was absolutely infatuated with Macho Man's valet, Elizabeth. So let's just check out some of these supposed answers. George, we want to ask you some questions. We want to know about you and the way you live your life, about what you think, what you like and what you don't, and whom you like and whom you don't. Do you understand, George? George cocked his head, rolled out his green tongue, pondered for a while, shook his head affirmatively. Great. So, George, how did you get into wrestling? George raised his eyebrows as if he was suddenly enlightened. He says, George like, George bad, wrestling good. Now George nice. The whole thing is stuff like that. It's so silly, but that's how George the Animal Steele talked back then. What's your favorite ice cream food? Steele, ice cream. Hulk ice cream. George ice cream. Piper ice cream. All good. Nice. Then he drooled. George is, of course, referring to the WWF ice cream bars. He had recently toured the production plant and loved to sample the ice cream. I have to agree with him. Bring back those ice cream bars. There it is. Right and righty. George Steele agrees with me. Awesome. That was awesome. It's so cool to see these guys. Next article you had it was called Arming to Win, and what it was how the different superstars used their techniques to win, and it featured just about everybody. It was kind of a filler piece. You had Hercules Hernandez, Ken Patera, Bruno Sammartino, Paul Roma, Honky Tonk Man, Coco Beware, Jake Roberts, Randy Savage, pretty much everybody, the who's of the WWE and what they did, all the superstars at the time. So next we have to talk about the classic match feature. Every month they have a battle of the Titans where they feature a match, and this Matt Classic can't be forgotten about. It featured Outback Jack and Genghis Khan. I had forgotten about Genghis Khan, but last week I had talked about how the Great Kabuki was the originator of the Green Mist, and Genghis Khan was another one of the wrestlers that utilized that Green Mist. So Genghis Khan, you owe Kabuki some props too, although you were using it back in the early 80s too. So I know Kabuki was the originator, but you were using it pretty soon after. So that's awesome. Next thing we have is every month WWF catalog comes out, and it always has some cool stuff. This month, wow, we would not be able to get away with one of the shirts that's in here right now. It is Dick the Rebel Slater. Yep. And he's got a Confederate flag on the front. Wow. That would not fly nowadays. I always love this Lou Albano shirt that's in here. Again, they have the classic Macho Man shirt, Superstar Billy Graham, Hot Rod, all the greatest of the time. One of the cool things from the time, I wish I would have invested more money in these. These things are so hot right now if they're in their packages. The WWF LJN Superstars, They are selling for ridiculous, ridiculous money, especially if they are on the card still. Wow. I mean, you're talking $500 plus a piece. It's crazy. So the next thing we want to get into is the feature article of the day, and that is Heenan and Hart. Who is the most successful manager? Is it Bobby the Brain Heenan or is it Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart? Listen, hands down, it is Bobby the Brain Heenan. At this time, this was Bobby the Brain's Heenan stable. He had Andre the Giant. He had Haku. He had Tama. He had Paul Orndorff. He had King Kong Bundy. He had Big John Studd. He had Hercules Hernandez. And he had the King, Harley Race. Sorry, Jimmy, you can't compete with that little stable of Danny Davis and the Honky Tonk Man and the Hart Foundation. Sorry. Jimmy, you were great on the mic. Bobby, you were the best on the mic. Bobby the Brain Heenan was the greatest manager of all time, hands down. If anybody wants to argue, I'm up for it. Please tell me who was better. I miss the Brain. He was awesome. I used to love primetime wrestling with him and Gorilla Monsoon. So the next article is about tag team turmoil. At this point, you had some of the greatest tag teams ever competing. This was the golden age of tag team wrestling. The Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, the Rougeau Brothers, Demolition, the Dream Team, the Killer Bees. The list goes on and on. This was the golden age of the tag team division. I'd love to get back to that. I love tag team wrestling. You know, and that time you have to realize even in the other, you had other, the Four Horsemen. You had, the Legion of Doom, or the Road Warriors. You had Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. There was the Destruction Crew. Every one of the major wrestling federations had a crazy amount of tag teams. This really was the golden age of the tag teams. The next article this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this magazine, because this was the introduction of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and his bodyguard, Virgil. It is awesome looking at these pictures of him strutting around, flaunting his money. You know, kind of ironic. He was in the WWF 10 years earlier, and he wasn't rich, and he comes back and he's a multimillionaire. Yeah, and I love how they discuss how Virgil will crush any of the other managers, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Slick, or Jimmy Hart, if they get involved in the matches, because he's ridiculously big compared to them. Then you had every month again. They do an interview this month, or another feature on an upcoming star, and this one was on Ron Bass. Ron Bass had a short run in the WWF. Wasn't good, wasn't bad. It was what it was. So in early 87, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat took a nasty DDT on the floor by Jake the Snake Roberts, and he was put out of commission for a long time. It just happened to coincide with him having a baby. Just happened to. So the next article is about, it's really fortunate that, he was injured at this time because he could be there for the birth of his child. Yeah, it wasn't that he took the leave so he could be there for the birth of his child or anything, but it's a nice little article on him and Bonnie. So one of the other cool parts of WWF magazines back then is you had these crosswords. They were really geared towards the kids, but again, it was fun. The Honky Tonk Man's favorite move, what was it? The shake, rattle and roll. Let's see. He teamed with Hillbilly Jim and the Little Beaver. That was the Haiti Kid. Nickname of Hulk Hogan's foe in WrestleMania 2, King Kong. Yeah, most of them were pretty easy. This one I actually happened to fill out because I was a little kid, and that's what you did with crosswords, right? The last page of the magazine features a Caught in the Act. This one has George the Animal Steel with a camera in his hands and just says pictures. George Steele was a very, very amusing character. Looking back, I mean, I would have probably complained as an adult me looking at that character, but back then, I loved George Steele. I really loved all those characters. They really were, they were so amusing. It was a great soap opera to grow up watching. Well, I'm starting to run out of time here. It was great going through that magazine. I could probably spend another half hour in it. There's a bunch more little stuff in there, but we gotta get wrapping this up. I got to send a special thanks out to the SOB Sports Network, Paul and Mike, and thank them for having me on the show this week. You got to check them out. They're on the Monty and the Pharaoh channel every Tuesday at 9 p.m. And you got to always make sure you check out me every Thursday at 10:30 p.m. following the Monty and the Pharaoh show. So Monty, Jimmy, thank you for letting me do this. And it's about that time. I'm out of here.